All right, we now have a special award to present. To present this award, let's welcome to the stage my second favorite caller, Mr. Buddy Weaver. Buddy Weaver is from San Marcos, California. He serves on the Board of Governors and is currently serving as Vice Chair of the Board. He currently serves as Chair of the Social Square Dance Committee and also as Vice Chair of the Applications Review Committee. Buddy will be presenting a special CALLERLAB award tonight.
Hello friends, how are you all tonight? Hi. So the CALLERLAB Milestone Award is the highest award CALLERLAB can bestow on an individual. The nominee is judged against rigid criteria in 5 categories. A nominee must meet the criteria in all 5 categories to receive the award. The primary purpose of this award is to recognize those individuals who have made outstanding and significant contributions to the field of square dancing. Before I make tonight's presentation, I would like to recognize those individuals in the audience that have previously received this high honor and ask that they stand as I read their names and remain standing until I have finished reading their names. Please hold your applause until I have finished. Vic and Debbie Cedar, Barry and Pam Clasper, Wade Driver, Ed Foote, Betsy Gata, John Jones, Deborah Carroll Jones, Melton Luttrell, Tony Oxendine, Mike Seastrom, Masaru Wada, Dottie Welch. A nice round of applause. In the square dance world, there are few who are so highly respected and beloved as our honoree. Background on our honoree. While working as a line pressman, he was told by his supervisor pressman that if he liked working there, he should be at square dance lessons the following night. Not wanting to endanger his new job, off he and his wife went to lessons where they fell in love with square dancing. Almost right away, he became intrigued with calling. The voice lessons he had as a child made trying singing calls seem easy, and within a year of graduation, he was calling dances. Unable to find any caller teacher or mentorship, our honoree taught himself to call pattern. He used the old Sets in Order magazines. He wrote his material. He memorized complete 2.5-hour-long dances. He started to develop a style of pattern calling of his own. He eventually mastered an ability to get dancers to quiet down and hang on every single word. And building excitement through his vocal showmanship, he would send the floor full of dancers into a frenzy. No one had seen a style like that before. It was a style of calling that would become representative of most of today's top callers. Within 7 years, our honoree was sought after as a caller throughout the region. He was calling nights and weekends while still working as a pressman in the print business. One story that he related to me goes of calling a night owl dance. Remember the old night owl dances? Which would end at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then he drove straight to work and worked an 8-hour Sunday shift. That pace couldn't last. And following an appearance at the National Convention in 1968, which led to a flood of invitations to call everywhere, the decision was made to become a full-time caller. Within a year, he was booked to call almost every night, which included weekly club dances that encompassed 4 neighboring states. Each week, he drove over 900 miles, Monday through Thursday, plus driving on weekends and calling on weekends. In 1971, while calling for the Hawaii State Convention, he received a life-changing telegram, and it read, quote, "Extend your layover in California for 2 days. Important," close quote. He and his wife did, and 48 hours later, he got back on a plane at LAX with a contract to become this brand new thing called a resident caller at an RV resort. He had a brand new home in escrow, and they had no idea what they were going to do. So they did what any of us would do. They went home. They sold their house. They loaded up their 3 teenage children and drove west to California to what would become his forever home, their forever home. In this new role as resident caller, our honoree and his wife taught multiple beginner classes and workshops. They went to every single unit in the park and personally invited people to come learn to square dance. He developed a successful tiered system of square dancing, one for beginners, one for the occasional dancer, that dancer who would dance maybe once a month, and one for the dancing enthusiast who was there dancing every single week. And this was years before CALLERLAB and its programs. At its peak, his square dance program had 300 squares dancing every single week in the park. He was one of only 2 people who were the first in the Snowbird program, and what he and his wife developed became a template for Snowbird programs everywhere. He called in that field for 19 years in both California and Arizona. No one had ever done that, and probably no one ever will. Tonight's honoree was one of the first to call overseas, the first to change the 1960s collar dress code, which at the time was Western shirts and string ties. He introduced the world to callers wearing blazers, and he even went so far as to wear a blazer with a turtleneck shirt, calling the Kansas State Festival, as I recall. As you might expect of a caller with this resume, he would be in the square dance recording field, and here again, he has done what no one else has done, nor ever will. Since 1967, he has recorded every single year, including 2024. He has 147 singles, and he has been staff recording artist for Rhythm Records, Blue Star, Chaparral, and Wagon Wheel labels. In the days when square dance music was country western, he was the first to turn an Elvis song into a square dance singing call. He got pushback for that too. He pushed the envelope in bringing a new genre of music to square dancing. He pushed so far as to the song that had lyrics like, "Darling, raise the shade and let the sun shine in," which he got pushback for that too. His vocal stylings built excitement, jumping on top of notes, sending the dancers into orbit. He set a new standard that again is heard in today's caller. In the 57 years of recording, he has brought us hits like "Your Time Hasn't Come Yet, Baby," "When You're Hot, You're Hot," "Mississippi," "The Bloody Red Baron," "The Best Is Yet to Come," "Cherokee Fiddle," "Dim the Lights," "Fever," "First Thing Every Morning," "Honky Tonk Heroes," "I Will Survive," "I Write the Songs," "I Love Them Everyone," "After Beloved," "Joy to the World," "Rockin' Pneumonia," and "The Boogie Woogie Flu," "Someone Must Feel Like a Fool Tonight," "12th Street Rag," "YMCA," "Hallelujah," plus the many recordings he did with his buddies, Jerry, Gary, and Burl, as probably the most popular quartet in square dancing, the Chaparral Four. And by now, you have probably guessed that I'm speaking of Ken Bauer. Now, for those of you who know Ken, you know that this incredible career of his is a product of a partnership. His wife and life partner, Dee, has worked side by side with Ken in his camps, in the Snowbird programs, on the weekends and on the festivals. She has been out front and behind the scenes, from calling tours to dealing with the difficult situations that we all face. For as long as Ken has been a full-time traveling caller, it has been the team of Ken and Dee Bauer. They have been the power couple in square dancing. On behalf of a grateful square dance world, we thank Ken for a new way to call, for introducing us to a new kind of music, for showing us a new way to dress. We say thank you for setting a high standard of professionalism, for bringing joy to thousands of people in a 64-year career, for blazing many trails and leaving an indelible impression, a living legacy embodied in almost every square dance caller today. Ken and Dee could not be with us tonight, but he sends us the following message. Quote, I appreciate this very much. You know, most of the thanks should go to my family, my wife and kids. They spent a lot of time alone. We've had a lot of roads, but I've got to say over the years, it's been a good ride. I'm honored and very pleased to accept this award. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the CALLERLAB Milestone Award goes to Ken Bauer. This session is being recorded, and Ken and Dee will be watching us. Where, does anybody know where the camera is?
Right here.
Turn to face the camera, stand, turn to face the camera, and would you join me in saying, hi Ken, hi Dee.
Keep standing, I'm panning across. All right, you can sit down.
Thank you, Betty, and congratulations to Ken and Dee. Ken was one of the first callers to invite me to call with him when I first started calling. I was a cure at the time. And if Ken's watching, love you. Wish he was here. Nobody deserves it more.